Right, hello, I'm Simon O'Rourke, and what I'm doing today is exploring some new tools from a company called MANPA. As you can see from the banner behind me, they've been established since 1988, and that gives them quite a lot of credibility, really, that they've been making tools for that long. So I'm expecting good things from this. So let's have a look here at what we've got. So many bits and pieces they do in here. The first thing I'm going to look at is the belt sander. So this is it's all very nicely packaged. I like the packaging. It's all very neat and well presented. You get a side handle. Now that side handle is very important. I will show you about that later. Now bear in mind everything these guys do is based on the angle grinder, and it's based on attachments for the angle grinder. So this belt sander, effectively, if you imagine it a bit like a finger belt sander, like the ones you get from Makita or Black & Decker or other companies like that. This is a little more chunky, so this isn't really for precision work, but it's got quite a lot of beef to it. If you have a look at the width of the belts, they're pretty chunky old belts here. Let's have a nosy at some of these. So in the box you get, let's have a quick look. It's a very simple user manual, very clearly laid out instructions, which I'm going to follow now. So as you can see, belts are nice and wide. It seems like good strong material. Let's have a look now. So what I'm going to be testing this on first is my favourite angle grinder at the moment, and that's the Milwaukee Fuel cordless grinder. Of course, I'm not going to be putting the battery on straight away, not while I'm playing around with the moving mechanisms. So here we go. Now you'll notice before I start here, we've got the angle grinder without the holding nut on it, because that's what's required for this. We're gonna, I'll tell you what, no, first thing to do, it says, is to put this bit on. So this looks like a big old bobbin. It's a pulley wheel. It's a hefty bit of kit. It actually supplies quite a bit of weight to the base end of this belt, which I suspect is going to help with the handling. We're now going to put this unit on. So this unit here is the actual arm. It's spring loaded here, and that's going to provide our tension for the belt. There's adjustment screws here and here, and this will actually help to adjust the side-to-side movement if needed. That's nice and tight. So there you go. That bit there on the angle grinder needs to come off before this actually goes on. So what we've got now is belt housing, which we're going to push all the way down to the base. So that's nice and flush. We'll cinch up the tensioning nut here. Let's get that nice and tight. We're going to slide the belt on there. On the desk, slide the belt on. That feels nice and tight. And just moving that round this is one of the important things about any belt sander, is that you need to know that it's not going to slide off. So I've got that pretty central. That's moving over, you'll see. It doesn't move over any further than that, but it moves over naturally to that point there. So I'm wondering if something is very slightly off line. And this is the good thing about this, you can adjust any of these. So these two Allen keys here are easily adjustable, and I'm going to loosen the top one, tighten up the bottom one, until that rolls over to the center. There we go, we're about right there. So as I'm rolling that round, that's now staying at that point there, so it's just covering that bit. So essentially, that's it. Alright, so what we're going to do now is, because this is you're using the angle grinder on its side as opposed to on the front, they've actually provided a hole for the side handle. So here we go. That feels smooth, it doesn't feel like it's vibrating much. We'll have to see what it's like when we get it into the wood later on, and see how that goes. Next tool we're going to look at before we get to the really juicy stuff is this. So we've got a grinder holder here. This actually enables the user, big old chunky things, quite heavy as well. But I think with when you're using large tools on an angle grinder, actually having a back handle can help to get the balance. So I've got a standard Makita grinder here, which I'm using to demonstrate this. We're going to slide the cable in there, and this actually slides right over, right up to the side handle there, the side switch on the grinder, and then you just tighten the nuts up on the sides. So you just tighten these up. Seems fairly straightforward so far, and they've created a neat little notch there for the cable to go in, and that gives you a side handle, well, a back handle rather, for the angle grinder. So I can see that being quite useful for large applications, chunky bits which provide a lot of vibration. The further away your hand is from the machine, the less vibration you're going to receive. So that's the additional handle for the angle grinder there. Looks pretty good. This is the really exciting one. The multi-cutter. So this multi-cutter is absolutely brilliant as far as I can see. So as I said before, everything's very well presented. It's nicely laid out. They actually put a product catalogue in here as well, so you've got instant access to all of the things that they do. Let's have a look at this. So multi-cutter user manual. So it includes a number of things, including the wrench. That's a very important bit of kit. Let's have a look now. We've got the actual multi-cutter itself. This is an incredible looking bit of kit. You've got some lovely rounded carbide cutters on that. That's a really nice little looking tool there. We've got the pulley wheel that drives the belt. That screws straight onto the angle grinder itself. And we've got again a side handle. Side handles are all provided with the machine. We've got a cutter housing here. Now this is a really important bit of kit. You've got larger cutter housing and smaller cutter housing. You've got two different options there depending on the size of wheel you're using at the end and what you're actually doing with it. But we'll talk about those in a bit. Something else you get, apart from the little bag of tools, nice little 8mm spanner there, and the drive belt. That's a very important bit of kit, that drive belt. You won't get anywhere without that. You get two sizing rings. These sizing rings are labelled Bosch, Makita, etc. That's a 42.5mm diameter. And this one is for most of the Chinese grinders, which are a little bit smaller at 41.5mm diameter. These sizing rings are incredibly important. So what we're going to do now is put this box to one side. Let's take a look at the inside of the ring, which is going to sit on the angle grinder itself. So again, we have a Milwaukee grinder. We are going to use this Bosch Makita one because most of the Western grinders take this size. So this sizing ring here will sit into the hole like that. It's going to then be placed over the grinder itself. It's a really tight fit, which is obviously a good thing. The pulley wheel, that's going to screw down onto the nut from the grinder. So that sits down and gets screwed on and should in theory line up nicely when it's actually on. I'm going to take the housing off to show you tightening this up. Now, what you'll know about angle grinders is that having the opposite thread, when you start to rev it, that's when it tightens itself up. So we're going to slide the housing back on here. So we've got our housing nice and snug against the body of the machine there. We're then going to take our belt, now one of the things you'll notice here is we've got a nice hex nut there. So this hex nut here allows us to tension the belt. So we've got spring loaded in there, and we can actually push that out and tighten that nut to actually get that nice and tight. So this is great. They've actually supplied two belts here. So we're going to, in order to get this in, we're going to slide the end out. We'll get the belt linked over, pop that back in. It does lock upright, which is great. We're then going to pull it towards us and get the belt dropped over the top there. Now, on its own, with the spring, that actually feels nice and tight. So we're then going to cinch up that nut. Locks the whole thing off. And there it is. So as you can see, again, we've got the room for the side handle. I'm going to see if the Milwaukee handle fits into this one. It's a slightly chunkier handle than the one supplied, but you can use any of the handles that are supplied with your particular grinder. Pop the battery on. And there we go. Feels nice and smooth, there's no wobble there. Looks like a great bit of kit, really looking forward to using this. And you can actually change the head very easily using the spanner here. But I'm going to take the battery out before I even attempt that. Again, very similar to changing tools. Pop it off. There's the head there. And we're going to look at this head here, which is a square cutter. So this square cutter is really quite a nice, very different to other cutter based devices that I've seen and used. The square cutter has a small curved profile on there. That's going to ease the cutting. It's actually going to enable you to use the corners as a V-cut as well. The whole thing just feels really good quality to me. Let's get this tightened up. And again, away you go. So that's the multi-cutter. That's a really nice bit of kit, really looking forward to using that. I've got a few more things to show you as well. We've got some really nice things here. This is another cutter that sits on the multi-cutter. This is the V cutter, which I'm really looking forward to trying. This has got great potential for doing fur on animals and hair on humans. Looks like a great bit of kit. It's precision made, everything looks nicely balanced. I'm really looking forward to trying this. Okay, so we've actually got, in addition to this cutter, we've actually got a miniature one as well. So this mini belt cutter housing, this mini cutter here, I'm not entirely sure what they call it, but it looks like a great bit of kit. This looks like an all-in-one unit to replace if these cutters go. It doesn't look like something that you would be able to get different heads for. but I can see this being incredibly useful as a really nice precision tool for again doing nice textures on sculptures. I'm looking forward to trying them all. Let's have a look. This is quite an odd looking bit of kit here. This is the hole cutter. Now the hole cutter is a very different animal. It's actually a long cutter. It's got the 3 rounded cutters on the end, and you can plunge that in. You can create deep holes with it, but you can actually shape with it as well. So I'm looking forward to trying that bit later on. It attaches to any normal angle grinder as per usual, as per these ones here. It attaches to the angle grinder via an adapter, but that adapter actually enables you to use that on a 4-inch grinder. It's got a smaller head there.